And we did it because we felt like we needed to diversify a little bit.
We actually graze all the byproducts after harvest of the farmers.
Ideally, we sheep off the wheat that has not been harvested that really didn't make a crop, or the barley or the oats, because you have full kernels there. We'll feed off that residue, which is, it's still a crop, but it's just not harvestable because there's not enough tonnage there. So we'll put our sheep on beautiful wheat fields all summer long. That was the main reason why we got into the wheat farming business, because we thought in a good year we'll make some extra money, and in an average to below average year we have sheep feed, and it's a way to insulate ourselves from. It's just another way to integrate. This is alfalfa right here, and this is where we lamb in the fall, because we have this feed here. And there's a real critical window where these farmers stop cutting their hay. And so we'll come in 3 weeks after their last cutting, or 4 weeks, and we lamb on this beautiful pasture here. It costs money, but we lamb on great pasture. These ewes have the opportunity to produce enough milk for the baby lambs. I think we actually fit probably one of the best niches in the industry. We're pretty fortunate in that regard. It's a supply problem in the middle of the summer, where we see a real peak in prices, which is a real boon to the California sheepman. So economically, it's really great. Now we're at $1.40 and above, which is just a significant change and shift in the industry. It's a very positive outlook for this business, and it's one that hasn't been shared by anybody in the sheep industry for quite a long time. And so when you talk about rebuilding the sheep industry and the inventory committee and getting the sheep numbers up, you couldn't have a better reason than what happened this year with the way prices have spiked, and really people feel like it's a new normal in pricing. So if somebody wanted to get in this business and they had other crops, this is a great way to complement your business, the sheep. And I know people are doing that. It's an important business because we help we help a lot of these farmers clean up their fields out here, and a lot of this fruit and produce and crops go to feed the rest of the country.
It's just like a farmer planting a wheat seed and seeing that thing grow and cultivate and grow to a plant. Even though we harvest these animals, just like a wheat farmer harvests his wheat, it's a very rewarding business, but you have to have a love for the animal. And if you have that, you'll be successful.
And Clint, if a corn, soybean, wheat producer, he mentioned wheat there, they have land that is grazable land that might be, again, an option for them to consider lambs in a grain operation.
Certainly, Mark. Sheep have, they've been domesticated for 6,000 years, so they learned to take up what man has in the way of food, and in exchange they produce food and fiber. So there's very few operations anywhere in the United States that couldn't benefit from having a few sheep.
Mm-hmm. Now, this operation, we just looked at commercial lamb producers, but they also, and they own their own feedlot. So let's talk a little bit about the lamb feeding and how that works into the equation.
Well, Mark, most lambs can finish on the operations, the individual owner operations, and be harvested off forage, but not all of them. So the lamb feeding industry plays a real important part of taking these lambs that maybe aren't quite done enough to provide the consumer quality that we need, and they feed them concentrates and take them and make a consistent product with them. Most people probably don't realize that we don't have any lambs born in the months June, July, and August in the United States, and so we would have a 3 months hole in supply if we didn't have the lamb feeding industry to take some of these lambs and speed them up, and some of the lambs and slow them down, so that we can guarantee that our meat's going to be in the meat case 12 months out of the year. Mm-hmm. So I kind of look at the lamb feeding industry as the frosting on the cake, if you will.
Very good, well put. And let's kind of goes to our next video, kind of pick up on the subject here of feeding lambs as we hear from Mike Harper. Mike is with the Harper Livestock, and again, his comments.
There's more sheep fed like this in Weld County than any place else. several big feedlots in the area that handle a large volume of lambs. My name is Mike Harper. I'm a third-generation lamb feeder. My grandfather, Howard, got my dad started and interested in the business, and then Harold came out here from the Midwest and started in the late 60s and feeding lambs in this country. We have a feedlot here that we have a one-time capacity of about 65,000 head. We probably put somewhere between 200 and 210,000 head through the feedlot in a year's time. Buying most of our inventory from Western United States. We feed twice a day. And one of the reasons that this is such a good area for feeding is the climate is great, and we've got a lot of feed available to us around here. We've got a lot of crop aftermath, we've got wet distillers grain. Corn silage has been a staple for the cattle feeding industry for years. The sheep, we're feeding the same thing to the sheep. We grind our hay, of course. There's a good volume and supply of alfalfa hay around us. So it's just a good, mild climate. "30 to 50 days in the feedlot is about enough time to enhance an animal so you get a quality product in the end. So it all depends on the weight. 110, 20-pound lamb, you want to take it to 150 pounds, you're probably looking at 45 to 50 days. They gain about, we figure, about 6,500 hundredths per head per day in the feedlot. Everything gets weighed on our scales here that comes in. We have a start weight. And then it's just pretty much having an idea how long they've been on feed, what they weighed coming in. You estimate, well, at 6,500 hundredths per head per day, they ought to weigh X today. And then we sort the top end out of these lambs,